This is Tina Peters. If you're unfamiliar, she is a Trumpist nutcase who just got sentenced to 9 years in prison for a whole bunch of election-related stuff, and she got destroyed in her sentencing. Oh my God, it was so funny. Listen to what the judge said and what she said to the judge before she was sentenced. People usually, when they speak before their sentencing, they usually explain why they deserve leniency, and that typically involves telling people or telling the judge why they're not going to reoffend and how they know it was wrong what they did and taking accountability and everything. Did she do that? Of course not. She spent her time trying to convince the judge that the election was stolen in 2020. Anyway, we'll get there. Just listen to what she had to say here.
I'm not a criminal. I've lived my life with honor.
No.
And honesty. And I don't deserve to go into a prison where other people have committed heinous crimes.
Like, she is just lost. Like, so I got this from somebody else, from some other TikTok account, but I have the originals. I just want to use it as like a jumping in point.
Former Mesa County Clerk Tina Peters broke down in tears as she addressed the court before her sentencing for felony charges related to an election computer breach.
I've never done anything with malice to break the law.
Yes, she has. Are you kidding? That's what was just adjudicated through this entire thing. Again, I'll explain the whole case in a minute. I'll break it all down. Just keep listening.
I wanted to serve the people in Mesa County.
Peters was convicted on 7 counts of engaging in a security breach by allowing unauthorized access to voting machines. For nearly an hour, she rambled on about false claims regarding the 2020 election that continue to be propped up by conspiracy theorists.
I really do love these people, and whether they recognize it or not, I did my best.
No, she did the exact opposite. She doesn't love these people. What? The people of Mesa County. The hell does that mean? I don't need you to love me or whatever. I need you to follow the law. Jesus.
But I don't deserve to be in prison. I can do a lot more good out helping people, which is what I'm good at doing.
My God, dude.
If you tell me I cannot talk about the elections anymore, I won't talk about the elections anymore. I've done my job here.
She's just gone.
Tina Peters was sentenced to 9 years in prison for election tampering.
You are no hero. You abused your position, and you're a charlatan who used and is still using your prior position in office to peddle a snake oil that's been proven to be junk time and time again.
Oh my God, dude, I love it. Again, I have this entire video from the judge sentencing and from Tina Peters and her defending herself or whatever. Oh, it's so good. And we're going to watch a lot of it.
Your lies are well documented, and these convictions are serious. So it's 8.5 years total, plus the 6 months for a total of 9 years of incarceration.
That is glorious. I'm sorry. Look, I love watching these people get arrested and face accountability for the first time in their lives. I've played this clip a few times, but I gotta play it again. Every time we talk about Tina Peters, it's just, I get so much enjoyment out of her original arrest video. I probably shouldn't get this much enjoyment out of it, but I do. Watching somebody face accountability for the first time in their lives is just chef's kiss. This is from 2022, early March 2022, okay? By the way, you want to access any of my clips, I keep a running collection of clips that I cover. owenmorgan.com/clips. While you're there, sign up for my newsletter. Check out my books. If you sign up for the newsletter, you'll get like discounts and be alerted and stuff to when my books release. I'm writing one about World War II right now and whether Hitler was an atheist, whether he did his bad things because of atheism or Christianity or what Christianity's role was or whatever. Really hard topic to research. You'd be surprised. Anyway, watch this video from Tina. I'm sorry, I love this, man. This is so good.
Let go of me! Let go of me! Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
Let go of me. It hurts. Let go of me.
She's kicking at the police. Wow. She is so lucky that she's a white woman. Do you know what happens when a black dude does this? Derek Chauvin happens. I mean, George Floyd, I don't think he resisted arrest at all, did he? But if he did, it was no more than this. I mean, a ton of people have done no more than this and been murdered by the cops for it. I'm sorry. I'm really eating it up watching her face accountability.
Give me my key. Oh, stop it.
Sorry.
No,
She still thinks she's getting out of it or something. Like, are you really not connecting the dots here that this is happening?
go of me. Yes, you are, Caleb. Give me my key to my car. Give me my key to my car.
She still hasn't connected.
Give me my key to my car. Give it to me. Give me my key. Take my purse.
Oh, she's giving in now. Take my purse. You catch that one at the end? I love it, man. This is just the best. All right, let me tell you about the case because I want to listen to her sentencing. They just kind of stand out there, and I imagine they're laughing to each other here, probably. So here's what happened. Tina Peters was a county clerk, which means that she was in charge of some election systems. Okay, now they have these tabulating machines. You stick ballots in, and it counts how many votes there were for each side, based on how many like ballots you put in or whatever. So it's just counting the ballots and adding it up and showing you on the screen, basically. There is an internal there's like a hard drive on there that keeps track of all of the the ballots that were fed in, all of the processes. It just keeps like a full list of all the actions taken and everything. And Tina Peters, being the county clerk, had access to this machine. And what she did was she created basically like a false access, like a false account, so that one of Mike Lindell's close friends, somebody like connected to Lindell, could like basically log into the voting machine and retrieve the voter information, like private voter data, names and addresses and everything, all of it. She did that, and not long after that, a big list full of dead voters showed up. It was making the rounds on like QAnon forums and stuff. So BBC gets their hands on this list, and they go around knocking on doors. They're like, all right, let's find out if these people are dead. And they show up to the houses because guess what? They had names and addresses, private voter data. And the people were fine. They're like, are you dead? He said, no. And it was like, oh, okay. Next house. They were just voters. She stole, or she facilitated the theft of a bunch of private voter data and gave it to Mike Lindell, who then used it as propaganda. That is an absolutely insane level of like privacy violation and data breach and everything. It's just disgusting. She's a disgusting human being to have done something like that. What is wrong with you? So anyway, they took a snapshot of the hard drive, I believe is how they did it. She scheduled a backup on the system, and then she gave him access to the backup. He downloaded it, and then he pulled it up or whatever. So bottom line is that she violated everybody's rights, and now she's having hers taken away for it. Anyway, she goes on Steve Bannon after getting arrested. This is like shortly after this arrest video, a couple of weeks. She was only in jail for like a weekend or something. Listen to what she said here.
Your country. What were the thoughts in your mind that night when you went to bed?
This is 2022, late March.
Well, unfortunately, I didn't go to bed. They keep the lights on 24/7. They have it. You sleep on a 1-inch plastic mattress with no pillow, no sheet, just barely covering up with a blanket.
Okay, now let me ask you. Do you think that she's been championing this issue her entire life as a public official? Do you think she's been fighting for prisoners' rights this whole time? Of course not. She's not complaining about prisoners' rights or comfortability or whatever. She's complaining about her and how it hurts her. She's got 9 years, basically. She's got 9 years to look forward to this exact thing. So buckle up.
And in my case, There were 5 other women in this particular room that I was in.
And she's just in a holding cell then. She's not even in a cell.
I can't even call it a room. It was a jail cell
Yeah, no.
with a toilet. And
Oh, yeah, that's another thing. The toilet's in the middle of the room. You have to use the bathroom in the room with everybody else there. She probably didn't like that. I think they should put up barriers, honestly.
with a toilet. And my chief deputy was in a little bit larger room with 9 other women in her cell. It was a no contact. They did not allow us to communicate, contact, be together. The people that were in there were just hopeless. It was so sad.
Again, she doesn't give a about prisoners' well-being or rights or whatever. She's looking for some reason to turn herself into a victim. That's it. That's what this is about.
Food in there, I would have eaten my dog's vomit rather than eat that food. It was awful what they're serving to these people.
Colossal scumbag. Anyway, so this is like a bit of a long stretch of video that I want to watch, but it's going to be interesting. Something else that I want to cover before watching her full-blown thing. After she was arrested, okay, this clip is from April 6, 2022. So it was like 2 weeks after her arrest. She's running for office again, right? Now watch this clip here.
For Republican Mesa County Clerk Tina Peters, she faces felony charges accused of tampering with her county's election equipment. She also has to answer to an ethics complaint, accusing her of accepting more money in gifts for her legal defense than an elected leader is allowed by the state constitution. Support for Peters comes in the form of the Pillow Guy.
Mr. Lindell, how much have you raised for Tina Peters' legal defense fund?
I just put all the money in myself.
Uh-oh. Did you guys just catch that? He admitted on film to violating election law to help Tina Peters. He probably doesn't even realize.
And how much is that?
I don't know. I probably put in 3, 4, 5, maybe 800,000 of my own money.
Unless you're a close friend or family member of an elected leader, you're limited in how much you can gift.
You can only give someone a gift of $65 per calendar year.
Jane Feldman was once executive director of the Independent Ethics Commission.
I love this, dude. This is the kind of that I do this for right here. I just love watching Trump extremists who have never faced accountability in their lives face plant. It is so glorious.
Now she's part of the legal team in the ethics complaint against Peters. And if Peters receives more than she's allowed, she could be fined twice the amount. So if Lindell really gave her $800,000 to pay for her legal defense, the fine could be expensive.
Oh, boy.
That's $1.6 million.
But there is wiggle room if Lindell is a close friend. Except listen to how he answered a question about flying Peters around on his personal plane last year.
I would give rides from people all over the country. I had never met Tina Peters. That's what the plane ride you're talking about. She came.
He's digging himself a grave, dude. I love this so much. I love this. He doesn't even, he's like pissed off at this reporter. God, he's so stupid, man. Oh, it's the best. I just love this. All right, sorry. Let me step back here.
Peters. That's what the plane ride you're talking about. She came to the cyber symposium with a group from Colorado. I picked people up. I invited all 50 states. All 50 states were represented. There's your answer. Another stupid question by a stupid journalist.
Yeah, what an idiot. I love it, man. Oh, it's so good.
But here's why it's not a stupid question.
By the way, hats off to this report, KUSA. It's on CBS, I think, but it looks like a local report. I don't know who put this together. They did one hell of a good job with this.
If you had just met her, you weren't a close friend of hers.
I just met her that day. Another dumb question.
If he
Oh, God. I'm sorry. I love it.
said he had just met her and they had no prior relationship, it's very hard to argue that he was a personal friend.
Oh, my God. It's just the best, man. So anyway, in her sentencing, this is why I bring this up, this video, okay? I've covered this before. In her sentencing, you're given an opportunity to speak in your own defense if you choose. Like, she's already been charged and convicted. We know she's going to be sentenced, so you get to speak to the judge and ask for leniency and give him reasons why you think he should be lenient. Like, I was out of my head. I didn't know what I was doing. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. I won't ever do that again. The assumption at this point is that you did it because you were convicted of it. And she went all the way to trial, a jury trial, I believe. So what did Tina Peters do? She tried to convince the judge that there was election fraud in 2020. Again, what does she think she's accomplishing with this? But this clip right here that we're about to watch, this is the one that I found most interesting. Okay, so she's going through this whole list of reasons why she's the victim and not like all of the voters whose data she stole. And she explains her relationship to Mike Lindell.
The government has accused me of profiting by them prosecuting me because they said I got free plane rides on Mike Lindell's plane and other bennies. But I reimbursed Mike Lindell for every
Isn't that convenient? Reimbursed him, huh? So it wasn't a gift, is what you're saying?
free plane ride I took on Mike Lindell's plane, and here's proof of it. And you can go down, show.
I'm wondering when she paid that, if those invoices are real. Was it immediately after finding out that she couldn't receive gifts from people? Was it immediately after finding out that you can't profit off of a crime? So if you are getting free rides on a plane or getting gifts or whatever for a crime you committed, then it goes even higher, like you get charged for even more? When did she pay this, if she did? God, I love it, dude. She is such a ridiculous human being. So anyway, unfortunately, we don't have all night to watch this, but some of it is just top tier. So I want to watch some of what she has to say. First, let's listen to the judge just destroy her emotionally. It's just the best. Okay, this is at her sentencing right here.
So report number 3, when that ballot goes in to the tabulation machine, we've already proven it in report number 3. There's a second database that's created. So there's an image. So when they say,
remember, she's supposed to be telling the judge why she's sorry and how she can make it up to the community right now.
well, we'll just count the images. Don't worry about the paper ballots. We'll just count the images. After ballots go in, there's a second fraudulent database that's created, and it's all documented in here. There's an image taken of that ballot. Then the ballot is changed, and we know it's been changed because it's lacking the .sha file.
But everything she's saying is just complete BS, and I'll point it out as we go. She's just lying here. I don't even think that she believes any of this. I truthfully, honestly think that she is a cynical actor and knows this is BS and is setting out to deceive people intentionally, but who knows?
And it goes through adjudication differently, like it's a completely different ballot. This is what report number 3 is. So when you ask, were there any fraudulent votes? They haven't read it. They don't know. All right, I'm going to move along.
Votes, man.
Sorry.
I'm not going to let you.
Okay, that's fine.
Things that are completely irrelevant to this sentence.
This is irrelevant.
No, it's not. I've let you go on enough about this, but the votes are the votes. You still didn't answer the question. If this is my ballot and I put it in the machine.
Dude, I can't even believe the judge is humoring her. This judge has the patience of a saint. Have you guys ever seen how judges act in courtrooms? They can be complete douchebags, like really, really awful. If you don't call them your honor and practically bow down to them, then they'll ruin your life. Like some of them are absolutely terrible. And this guy is humoring her. I love this judge. He is awesome.
Whatever it tabulates is whatever it tabulates.
No, it doesn't. It changes.
You're not letting me finish.
Okay.
Whatever
please.
it tabulates is whatever it tabulates. My hand vote, my ballot remains the same.
Right. So what he's saying is she's complaining that the machines were corrupted or the machines were tampered with, whatever the other. They counted the paper ballots, and the paper ballots added up to exactly what the machines counted the first time around. So there was no fraud. And then they go another level deep. They're like, okay, well, you counted you hand counted the, I don't know, 2 million ballots or whatever. You had people counting the 2 million ballots, but they didn't have the outer envelope where people had already sent them in because, you checked them already. So how do we know you didn't just like write those ballots down on the spot? Are you serious right now? You got to be fucking kidding me with this.
They counted those ballots. Did they not?
I understand what you're saying.
Did they count the ballot?
No, the ballot images were changed, and that's what the total showed.
Okay, he was asking if they counted the physical ballots, Not on the tabulators.
Okay, I'll move off of this because I can see that I would encourage to read the report number 3.
I've read them, man.
You've read all of them?
I've read those reports. They were given to me at some point, I believe.
Good. Well, so you know what I'm saying is true. All right, let me move on. It's not funny. My life is on the line here, Your Honor.
No, you're the one who...
I cannot believe she's doing this to the judge. My wife she's got like a month left in law school or something, maybe 2 months. And the first thing she told me is that you do not piss off the judge. You don't do it. They will ruin you. And a lot of them are like right-leaning, kind of traditionalist, like the old way is better, and you need to show respect to your superiors. I cannot believe she's doing this, truthfully. This is crazy.
On the line here, Your Honor.
No, you're the one who's making this allegation that one...
It's not an allegation.
And 2, that I know it's true. You're saying that as if I believe you, and I did not say that.
Okay.
That is why I made the sound, because it's insulting to me for you to just put that in a record in front of all of these people that...
Yeah, it wasn't a laugh. It was a scoff.
I believe something to be true.
Okay, and I apologize for that, Your Honor.
No, she doesn't.
That wasn't my intent.
It was her intent. It was obviously her intent.
I do apologize for that. It gets a little fiery when your life is on the line, and I apologize.
Such a fighter, such a victim, huh? Why is your life on the line, Tina, right now? How'd you get to where you are? Why are you standing in front of a judge in the first place? You put your life on the line, Tina. This is your fault. She will not take responsibility. To this moment, sitting in a prison cell, she still cannot take responsibility for her actions. This blows me away.
But I told the candidates they didn't have anything to fear because they had brand new machines that they'd taken out the bad ones as the...
God, she's so full of... She is so full of... Anyway, let's listen to what the judge said at her sentencing. He really destroyed her. Oh my God, I loved it.
Here, the defense has, and Ms. Peters in particular...
But this is just a little bit later that same day.
Has remained quite defiant, which is her right, but certainly not helpful for her lot today. And in arguing why I should impose a particular sentence, she tells me about her ailments, her loss.
Oh yeah, that was another thing. Her ailments. She says she has fibromyalgia and something else, and as a result, she needs a magnetic mattress. A magnetic mattress. Let me let you in on a little secret. She doesn't. Magnetic mattresses don't do shit for anybody. It's snake oil. I saw somebody in the chat earlier say that Mike sent her magnetic pillows. I'm not sure if that's true, but I would not be surprised even a little bit if that were true. I'm leaning toward it's totally true. But Antics is saying the SHA file is just a checksum verifying that the data is true. Yeah. That's a good point. I probably should have addressed that. So they have this hashing thing, basically, where when you write a file on a computer, you create a hash of it. So you send it through an algorithm that produces a unique set of numbers that represent that exact thing. Like with passwords, when you type a password in on a website, it hashes it. It's called an MD5 hash, I believe, is what they use for passwords. And they store the MD5 hash in the databases, not the actual passwords. That's what they're supposed to do. I worked in HIPAA compliant, like PCI compliant systems for a long time. That's how we did it on those. So you don't store the person's password. When they go to your website, they type it in and you hash what they typed, and you compare that hash, that random set of numbers correlated to the password, you compare it to the hash that you have, and if it's accurate, if it's the same, they type the right password. It's basically the same idea with the SHA file. As soon as it's done writing this file, it creates a hash, and if it's off by 1 bit, it will change the algorithm completely and give you a totally different result. So you use that to verify that the file was not tampered with, and that it is accurate and there, and they didn't like, I don't know, it didn't drop bits, it got corrupted or something. Basically, that's what that's for.
Her struggles in life. But in reality, for those of you who may have been here earlier this morning and seen some of the folks who've occupied that chair before Miss Peters, there could be not much in the way of a comparison in terms of the type of sympathy one would extend to Miss Peters.
This one hits me hard. I've been in that chair. I went through legal problems when I was an addict long and long ago, and I had a felony. I mean, it's been like 15 years or something, so it's not even on my record now, but I was sitting in that chair, and I remember they gave me a plea bargain. They said, if you admit guilt in this situation and explain what happened, allocution, we will give you a misdemeanor instead of a felony. And I said, oh, okay, great. And my lawyer says, except the judge has the choice of just like not taking the plea bargain. So after you explain what you did, your allocution, if he chooses to send you to prison for 10 years on a felony, he can do that if he wants. And one more thing, this is an election year, and he's sitting in for a judge that just retired, so he wants to show people he's tough on crime. So what do you want to do? That's what my lawyer said. My public defense, my public defender. Oh my God, dude. I said, let's do it. It's like skydiving. I mean, there are people that have been through some real in that chair. Tina Peters is not one of them.
Those folks didn't have 4 lawyers representing them. They didn't have a team of assistants helping them. They're not
public defender, not 4 lawyers.
They're not getting rides in private jets all over the country. No, the people who sit in that chair suffer, generally speaking, immeasurable trauma in life, struggle mightily with alcohol abuse, substance abuse, mental health struggles, family loss. They come from broken homes.
Sick in respect for this guy. I love the out of this judge, and if I could send him a fruit basket, I would. By the way, his address is out there. You know how I know? Because he's getting death threats right now. MAGA is sending him death threats. Has to have full-blown security and because of it. For real. The MAGA movement is a terrorist movement.
The cards they were dealt were never the cards that you were dealt, Miss Peters. So when I hear you discuss your husband, who sadly passed away recently, your family struggles, and your son, who served our country admirably and made the
I think he was on SEAL Team 6.
Ultimate sacrifice, I consider it. And I note, too, that he honored his oath to the country, something that is not lost on me when considering the circumstances under which you find yourself here.
Well, I mean, he's a totally different person, so yeah.
Your age, limited criminal history, and the like are certainly somewhat mitigating. Your ties to the community are what they are, but your reputation at this point is poor because of what you've done here and after. Your lies are well documented, and these convictions are serious. I'm convinced you would do it all over again if you could.
Of course. She spent her time defending herself and asking for, like, leniency. She spent it trying to argue with the judge that the election was fraudulent. Oh my God, how stupid can you get?
You're as defiant as a defendant as this court has ever seen. You don't have those histories of drug and alcohol abuse. There's no lifetime of trauma, not even close to the type of mitigating circumstances I would see from many folks who sit in that chair. No, to the contrary, Ms. Peters.
No, she's privileged.
You are a privileged person. You are as privileged as they come. And you use that privilege to obtain power, a following, and fame. And to be sure, there's no doubt in my mind that it's exactly what you wanted, and it defies all sense of common sense to believe when you suggested to me a few moments ago that you didn't want this attention. No, you crave it, ma'am. And there is no one in this courtroom who would consider that to be anything other than the absolute truth.
I love this judge, man.
But to get to the point of what it is that you did here, it's my impression distinctly that you never took your job of clerking particularly seriously. You didn't complete the...
Yeah, to my knowledge, she didn't even show up to work most of the time. And that's like on record. And she argued with the judge that she was just doing her work remotely. Really? God, she's obnoxious. She was only there long enough to steal voter data. Oh my God.
certification. One scandal after another followed you in your time as the clerk. And ultimately, it was a belief that the echo chamber in which you live couldn't be wrong, among other things, that led you to do what you did here. This thought process, unfortunately, seems to consume so many in our country, regardless of race, gender, political affiliation, or the like, that what it is we hear and think can't possibly be wrong.
Did she just make a noise? That's not her turn.
There are many things in my mind that are crystal clear about this case. You are no hero, you abused your position, and you're a charlatan who used and is still using your prior position in office to peddle a snake oil that's been proven to be junk time and time again.
This guy's so awesome.
In your world, it's all about you. But at bottom, this case was about your corrupt conduct and how no one is above the law. No one in this country has absolute power. Your position as a clerk and recorder, a constitutional position, does not provide you with a means by which to do your own investigation, to not listen to the judiciary, to not listen to the executives higher than you, to not listen to the legislature who sets the law as it may be. This is nonsense. Our system of government can't function when people in government think that somehow, some way, the power they've been given is absolute in all respects. And that's where you fell.
It's where Trump falls too, for the record. Like, this is a cancer on democracy, this mindset. We've got to break this mindset. We need to make sure that people who think like this don't get into political power ever. The people who should have the power the least are the ones that have the most power. I don't want to be in politics, but I'd probably be a good politician, I imagine. Mitch McConnell wants to be in politics and is a colossal scumbag, for example. Like, the people at the top are complete trash, like Tina Peters.
You have no respect for the checks and balances of government. You have no respect for this court. You have no respect for law enforcement. And you do not have respect for your fellow colleagues when you were a clerk and recorder who weren't lockstep in your beliefs. Indeed, just weeks before trial, you were apparently doing what I mentioned earlier, that is, over at the clerk and recorder's office where you're not supposed to be, violating the protection order by speaking to employees of that entity with your camera crew in tow.
Oh my God, dude. She went to the office, like the clerk's office was banned from showing up. This isn't the first time she's been in contempt or whatever. She violated the court rules. She brought an iPad to the courtroom and recorded surreptitiously, and the prosecutor saw the iPad recording. That's not allowed. That's against the rules, like very against the rules. So they held her on contempt or whatever. And then she spun up this big, ridiculous story about how they sent it to a lab and they found that it had not ever recorded in its lifetime, some other stupid. And she presented that whole thing at her sentencing. What is wrong with her? Seriously.
You have no qualms with violating the court's orders because you're innocent, because you didn't do anything wrong.
Right. Even if you're innocent, you're still bound to the court's rules. Like he's talking about here, you can't just show up to a place you've been court ordered to not go to. You can't just take an iPad into the courtroom and start recording surreptitiously. You can't do that. But she can, because she's never faced a moment of accountability or in her entire life. Never.
You were just doing your job. You have no problem trying to kick an officer. Your explanation about what happened is preposterous. It's on.
Oh, yeah, I'm assuming that's the clip we watched earlier.
On video. You have no problem lying to officers. It's happened multiple times. They're recorded conversations. It's just more lies. No objective person believes them. No, at the end of the day, you cared about the jets, the podcasts, and the people fawning over you. You abdicated your position as a servant to the Constitution, and you chose you over all else.
So he's basically debunking what she said in her earlier statement, which, again, I have a copy of her earlier statement. We may watch some of it, but she said in her statement before sentencing that she didn't want to be on camera. She had no idea how to present herself. She had to have little cue cards there because she was so unfamiliar with cameras, never seen one in her life. She's pretending that she doesn't want anything to do with fame. It's so very obvious that she's addicted to the fame.
Yes, you are a charlatan, and you cannot help but lie as easy it is for you to breathe. You betrayed your oath for no one other than you. And this is what makes Miss Peters such a danger to our community. It's the position she held that has provided her the pulpit from which she can preach these lies, the undermining of our democratic process, the undermining of the belief and confidence in our election systems. It's not about questioning it. No one says you can't question, you can't ask.
Yeah, see, this is what I say about World War II. Like, Steven Anderson and others are always like, you can't ask questions. Why can't you ask these questions? Or Nick Fuentes, why can't you just ask? I just want to ask. I ask those questions all the time. How many people actually died in the Holocaust? That's not a bad question. You're just not accepting the answers when they're given to you. And you're pretending there's some gigantic conspiracy behind it. That's not asking questions. That's making implications at best.
It's completely different. And if you don't understand, I can say or do here today, that will change your mind. So the damage that is caused and continue to be caused is just as bad, if not worse, than the physical violence that this court sees on an all too regular basis. And it's particularly damaging when those words come from someone who holds a position of influence like you. Every effort to undermine the integrity of our elections and public's trust in our institutions has been made by you. You've done it from that lectern the voting public provided you with. Everything you've done has been done to retain control, influence. The damage is immeasurable. And every time it gets refuted, every time it's shown to be false, just another tale is weaved. So I'll begin by saying I've considered all of those purposes of staying of an execution of a sentence. I've mentioned all of them here generally in my comments already, and I find that a stay of any sentence I impose would be wholly unwarranted.
So I think that she has to serve. No, maybe not. She was asking for probation. She can be sentenced to, with me, for example, I had a 1 to 10 charge, 1 to 10 years, what I could serve. 1 year was the absolute bare minimum, and 10 years is the maximum. And the judge can decide in my sentencing which he's going to give me. Now, I made a plea bargain with the defense and the prosecution, and they allowed me to take, basically 1 year on paper. But the judge could have overturned that easily. He could have said, you get 10 years in prison. Instead, I got 1 year suspended, which means 1 year on probation. And if I mess something up, I go to jail. She was asking for that. 9 years suspended. She didn't get it, obviously, which is good. I think the judge could have given it to her, and he chose to put her in prison. That's good, I think.
All cases have a possibility of reversal on appeal, no doubt. I'm at peace with all of the decisions I've made here. If anything, I gave you and your counsel far too much leeway at times, but the rulings I made came after much consideration, incredible amounts of internal debate, and I trust in accordance with the applicable law.
I respect the hell out of this guy, honestly.
I consider the sentence here, in this case, what are available to me. Probation. Community corrections wasn't requested, but it wouldn't be an option in any event.
I think that's like community service, like going around and doing soup kitchens and stuff.
And an incarcerative sentence to the Department of Corrections. Probation's focus is rehabilitation. That is for folks who have minimal criminal histories, low LSI scores like you, Ms. Peters, but where punishment isn't really on the table. It's about putting someone back in the community who's not a risk and giving them a chance to correct those things that brought them before me in the first place.
Yeah, that's probably what the judge gave me, even though he was a Republican running for the first time.
Community corrections, which again isn't available, but nevertheless I'll mention, is another option that I could still order. It's much more stringent than probation, but it's not prison. And it's for folks who have even higher needs. Again, drug addicts, alcohol abusers, and the like. And prison is for those folks where we send people who are a danger to all of us, whether it be by the pen or the sword or the word of the mouth. Prison is where folks go, where punishment is what we're focused on, because the crime committed is so significant that anything less would unduly mitigate the seriousness of the same.
I don't actually believe in retributive justice, getting retribution against people, punishment. I want rehabilitative justice. I want it to be focused on protecting society from them if need be. Like if there's like a serial killer. In an ideal world, he wouldn't be in prison because he wouldn't be a serial killer. But here we are. So he has to sit in jail for the protection of the rest of society. But if it were possible to rehabilitate somebody in that position, I would want that over punishment. There's a guy who famously started the first gang in the United States, the first black gang, back in the, I don't know, the 40s, I think, maybe? I don't remember. Or the 50s. Gangs started as a protection for black men coming home from work. The police were beating the shit out of them. So gangs formed and started following these people home to make sure that they were safe. And things got completely out of control. The police were afraid to go into their territory now. And crime just went off the rails because there were no police. And now the gang has to police the area. So they take a cut of things and it just gets crooked. Anyway, the first guy to start a U.S. gang, I believe, famously went to death row. And on death row, wrote a book about how to end gang violence and wrote a treaty that gangs can sign with each other. And he got a bunch of like active gangs to sign these treaties through his activism that he's doing behind bars on death row. And they killed him. He did all of that work to correct things, to clean up the community, fix any messes that he caused, and they killed him. So I'm not in favor of retribution. I don't know what that guy did. I don't care. In the end, he wanted to make things right. And that I respect the hell out of. Tina Peters doesn't want to make anything right. She would do it again, as the judge said. So I guess this is one case, maybe, in which retribution or punishment is acceptable. I don't know. I'm like real hard against retribution, so I don't know.
I mentioned before there are no mental health concerns. There's no good reason why you're here, Ms. Peters, other than these are all the active decisions that you made that cost our county significantly, but also more importantly, cost you greatly. Mr. Wood, all the members of the county who worked and trusted you when you asked them to do things that they did on your behalf. It's part of your lies.
Oh yeah, that was something else. She ordered 2 deputies to do a bunch of for her that was illegal. She forced them to. And they were charged with crimes also, but they agreed to testify against her to get out of it, pretty much.
The expense, the toll is immeasurable. So putting you on probation when you have 0 needs that would be met by probation is the very definition of unduly depreciating the significance of what it is that you've done here.
She needs the magnetic mattress.
The harm that you've caused our community and continue to cause. Community corrections is the same. So prison is the only place that duly meets the purposes of sentencing in this matter. And therefore the sentence and judgment of the court is as follows. As to counts 1 and 4, the judgment and sentence of the court is 3.5 years in the Department of Corrections. Those sentences will be concurrent to each other. As to count 2, the judgment and sentence of the court is 3.5 years consecutive to counts 1 and 4.
So he said that some charges are concurrent. That means she doesn't have to face them back to back. She can serve them overlapping. Wow, that's really lucky. It sounds like she could have gotten like 15 years. I don't know what the charges were exactly or how much time she could have gotten for each, but she actually lucked out with this, is what it sounds like to me.
As it relates to the misdemeanor charges, count 8 is 120 days in the Mesa County Detention Facility, concurrent to count 9 and 10, which will be 6 months in the Mesa County Detention Facility, consecutive to the prison sentence. The reason those sentences are consecutive is because those sentences are, as the prosecution stated, directly related to what it is that you did here in our community, the damage you caused this community, the breach of your oath to the electorate in Mesa County.
So he could have chosen to make all of them concurrent, overlapping. They were 3-year charges, I believe. So he could have given her 10 years probation. She'd be on paper, but she would not be in jail. Or he could have given her 3.5 years in jail because they're served concurrently. Or he could have given her 3.5 years on probation, concurrent, suspended. He chose to give her mostly consecutive. That's fascinating.
Your sentence will be followed by 3 years of parole. You have 2 days of pre-sentence confinement credit.
2 days of confinement credit. So she spent those 2 days in prison or in jail. You remember Steve Bannon talking to her about the lights. All the lights were so bright. And they didn't have my magnetic mattress.
Anything else we need to address?
Judge, I think you missed a sentencing on count 6.
Oh, I'm sorry. Count 6 is criminal impersonation. That's also consecutive. That's 15 months to the Department of Corrections.
I'm imagining he had this written down before he came in, right? I don't know how it works with judges, what they do.
And
so it's 8.5 years total, plus the 6 months for a total of 9 years of incarceration.
I think the only other thing is the cost of prosecution, Your Honor.
Is there an objection to the cost of prosecution, Mr. Case? We could set it for hearing if you need to.
Well,
if you need to have time to respond to it, I can give you that as well.
yeah, we do, because we don't understand how that was calculated.
Very well. I'll give you 21 days to file an objection to the cost of prosecution. You can consult that with the prosecutor. If there's an objection, we'll set it for hearing. Nothing else. Mr.
He is so nice. He did so much. I love this guy to death. I don't know if he's a Republican, a Democrat. I don't even care. He's a good guy, right? Seems to me.
Case, anything else?
Yes, Your Honor. We have a motion previously filed for a stay, which I believe.
I just denied that.
Oh, I love this.
Well, it's pursuant to Rule 8.1.
You want her to remain? I already told you in my written order what that pertains to. You want her to, she's going to remain in the MCDF for the next 6 months less.
So basically what they're trying to do is they're trying to get her out of jail for the next 6 months. Like they're trying to suspend it for 6 months before she has to go to jail. That's what he thinks he's doing right now. But it's really not about that, as the judge will explain.
6 months less good time and earned time already. Your motion, that rule you're citing to, isn't a stay of the sentence per se. It allows her to stay in the local jail for up to 60 days. And I'm happy to grant that, but she's already going to be doing it because they're going to take her. I think they're going to take her to. They're going to keep her here, and then they're going to take her to prison.
Well, we filed our consent of surety to bond on appeal.
Right.
We're asking simply that you allow her to remain under the conditions of that bond until we can get the Court of Appeals to rule on whether she should have bond during the appeal.
No.
Thank you.
That's simple. Thank you, Your Honor. I love that, dude.
The appeal.
No.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have one other thing, and that is I need to file an exhibit that I did not previously provide because it's under seal from the DC court. It's an October 4th internal email from Dominion. It relates to Mr. Frontera.
Okay, he didn't file evidence with the court until after the sentencing. Why? What is in that evidence? She has been sentenced. She's been charged and sentenced now. Double jeopardy applies. She cannot face a charge for the same crime now. And he's chosen this moment right now to reveal that he has evidence that the court has not seen.
So I wanted to advise the court that I'll be filing that under seal to complete the record.
Okay.
And that it should be kept under seal. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. We're adjourned. Defendants remain. I'm sorry. What?
I think it may be the Department of Corrections that decides the order. Is the court specifically requiring that the county jail sentence occur first? Or is the court permitting that to be up to the Department of Corrections?
I'm sorry. I need everyone to be quiet. Do you want her to remain in the MCDF for 60 days pending the Department of Corrections transfer? That is what the rule you cited refers to, Mr. Case. So
I think that rule is so that like there's time to appeal or do all of the hearings or whatever before she goes out of state or to a totally different location, because she has to be in that area for her defense, right?
I need to know that before we adjourn.
Just a moment, please, Your Honor.
Sure. They're going to take her away. So.
Yes, we do.
All right. By application of that rule, she is to remain in the custody of the sheriff for a period not to exceed 60 days if she is not already serving her sentence to jail during that time period, pending transfer to the Department of Corrections. She's remanded to the custody of the sheriff for delivery to the executive director. Otherwise, we're adjourned.
Wow. Honestly, these lawyers are probably top tier in all seriousness. Like they seem to not know what they were doing or what they were talking about or whatever, but they're probably very, very expensive. I would bet that the judge, he was probably trying to get one over on the judge, hoping he didn't know about this one statute or something. That would be my guess. I don't know. But wow, man, absolutely nuts. Damn, I wish we had more time to cover this, but sadly we do not. I want to listen to a little bit of her statement. Let's just listen to like the very end of her statement real quick. All right, let's start right here and just watch a little bit of her statement before she was sentenced.
Your Honor.
Oh, she's crying. We jumped in when she's crying.
I'm not a criminal.
Yes, she is. She's literally the definition of a criminal.
I've lived my life with honor.
No.
And honesty.
Literally no to any of that.
Took care of my husband faithfully even after he got sick in 2010. It took me 6 years to get him 100% disability, which did pay for the VA's care of him, which I'm very grateful.
Like she needed it. She has 4 lawyers. She is a leech on society, sucking it dry of everything that it has, including voter data, private voter data, and like welfare. She gave her husband welfare benefits. Now, I'm in favor of that, but she's not. She's a Republican. She's not just a Republican. She's MAGA, hard Republican. So it's okay to use welfare programs for her, but not for you.
But I'm not a criminal, and I don't deserve to go into a prison where other
still like not connecting the dots.
People have committed heinous crimes. The only crime that I did, and some people have said I'm not remorseful. Yes, I'm remorseful. Yes, sir, I really am. I never expected that just doing an image which was completely legal before and after the trusted build would have landed me here.
That is not what she did. She created a false badge, a false account for a Mike Lindell associate to access private voter data. She created the image, told him where it would be. He got in and downloaded it and then spread it all over the internet. She didn't just back up a system. She is so full of
I thought it was going to come out quietly. I could look and see, okay, is there any proof? Is there anything here? I
thought it was going to come out quietly. Yeah, I know. But, you got in trouble, so.
Talk to the constituents and say, listen, we've done an investigation.
Everything is good. This is the gold standard, which I'd believed before.
She wouldn't have said we did the investigation because it was illegal what she did. She didn't do an investigation. She gave this data to some jagoff friend of Mike Lindell. That's not an investigation. But for what it's worth, I love these magateers, man. I'm sorry. I love the accountability that people face sometimes. Again, not a fan of retributive justice, but yeah, here's another one of my favorites where a literal Nazi, like actual full-blown Hitler lover, and Trump lover too, weird, just cries because she lost her election. Oh, so sad.
We are losing our country because of big tech election interference. And I am pleading with the Republican Party to please start taking this issue seriously. Please.
Please. Okay, I love these tears, man. I'm here for it.
Never done anything with malice to break the law.
By the way, that last one is Trump's. She's not just a Hitler and a Trump lover. I mean, she's Trump's lover. Like, I think that they're together. They were entirely too physically close in some pictures. And also, she claims to have some audio of her doing questionable activities to Trump. And then Trump saying that those aforementioned questionable activities were the best questionable activities that he has ever engaged in with anybody. So there's that.
I wanted to serve the people in Mesa County. And I'll just tell you this. With my other attorneys, there was an attorney getting me ready for trial, and he was trying to be the prosecutor, play that role. It's a tough.
Okay, mock trial.
Me up. And he said to me, he kept trying to provoke me and provoke me and provoke me.
Yeah, I mean, that's what prosecutors do.
And he says, Tina, I can't. And that's why I should have testified, probably. But I said,
she shouldn't have testified. Nobody should ever testify in their own defense, ever.
He said, Tina, I can't get to you. And I said, I'll tell you a secret. I'll tell you how you can get to me. Talk about the citizens of Mesa County.
Oh, please.
Talk about the people that you served. I said, that's what'll do it.
Well, now we know that she's capable of crying on cue. That's actually a pretty rare talent.
And as I'm telling him, I'm starting to cry. I really do love these people. And whether they recognize it or not, I did my best to serve this county. And
she is a disgusting human being.
And I hope that you'll find it in your heart to not sentence me to, and I haven't cried in front of these people because I don't want them to get the impression that they were getting to me. But I don't deserve to be in prison. I can do a lot.
Still, she still doesn't know. She doesn't realize. It's not connecting with her, is it? She went through, I think, 7 days of trial. She's been in this situation for 2.5, 3, 4 years, and she's still not going to accept what she did and that it was a crime.
I can do a lot more good. A lot more good.
More good? Did she do any to start?
Out helping people, which is what I'm good at doing. If you tell me I cannot talk about the elections anymore, I won't talk about the elections anymore. I've done, I've done my job here. If you say that, if you allow me to go to Yuba City and live quietly helping with trafficked women and children, I would like to do that.
This isn't, you know what I would like personally? I would like for my private data to not be spread to Mike Lindell. That'd be fantastic. I'd appreciate that very much. But here we are. We don't all get what we want. Isn't there a saying about this? If shoulds and, no, what is it? If wants and something, then we'd all have candy rainbow. There's a saying here, right? What's the saying?
I didn't need to be in the center of attention. And, it's interesting when I took the job as clerk and recorder, the staff would come to me and they say, the press is outside. They want to talk to the clerk. And I said, don't we have somebody on staff that can do that kind of thing? And they said, no, they want.
She's trying to convince people she didn't like the attention. Come on.
To talk to the clerk. I had to tape a little piece of paper up on the tripod with bullet points because I wasn't used to being in front of a camera. I don't like being the center of attention. I never have. But this is uprooted my life.
What has uprooted her life exactly? The fact that she committed a felony, multiple felonies, to betray her public trust? That's what uprooted her life? Cry me a river.
And for that, I'm sorry. I really am remorseful that it came out that way.
Oh, so she's not remorseful that it happened, that she did it. She's remorseful that she was caught. Okay, yeah, I mean, that's what I thought to start with, so.
And I ask you for leniency and probation. I check all the boxes on the leniency. Don't have drug problems, don't have alcohol problems. You know, I don't know if you've ever seen as clean a past as I have or present. But I did not do it. I did not do it, Your Honor.
Yes, you did. That's what this whole thing is about. She just admitted it a second ago, right?
To disrespect the court.
Oh, she didn't commit this crime, this felony, to disrespect him. Oh, great. Well, I didn't expect that you did. I don't think you even knew that judge before, so you're not telling me anything I don't know.
Law.
Thank you, ma'am.
God, she's so full of shit. I'm so glad she's facing accountability. I am so glad. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. I really wanted to go through like the whole thing. Like, let me know if you guys think I should cover the whole thing, because I have this big, long article about everything that happened and when it happened and who was involved, and more video footage to cover, like a lot more. So if you guys want to see like the whole breakdown, take me like an hour or so, probably more, then let me know in the comments. Maybe I'll do that.